There's no sweat. As long as I get at one point before we leave.
Okay.
Okay, so we started the recording of the meeting, so I will call the meeting to order at, is that 7:06?
Yeah.
Okay, and we do have a quorum. And Karen Ann and Hope is here, and I am assuming that, okay. So meeting's called to order at 7:06. Present to speak. I don't see anybody anywhere. So did everybody get copies of the minutes from the last two meetings? Joy was supposed to get them out.
She did.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
One's from the 13th to start.
So I had, just looking about removing. Anybody that is under 18, leave on the 13th, but not mentioned.
You said
Or originally started on the 13th,
Got it.
and then, but there's no mention of the teen center conversation happening. I understand we shouldn't have any names under 18, but the topic there, it should,
No.
why not? It is so right now. I didn't see reference to it, then maybe overlooked.
Do not have to be in any detail. This detail is nice, but isn't necessary. But it should be there someplace.
As I said, it was
It
discussed.
was discussed.
Correct, that's all,
Yeah,
at the end of the day, I'm just pointing out.
yeah, okay.
Okay, so we have a motion to accept those minutes if they are amended.
I'll move to accept them.
Guys, can I say something?
Sure.
Yes,
Okay, I'm sorry, you guys are, like all garbly going in and out, so I didn't hear most of what was said, but I did get that you're going over the March 13th minutes. And there was a couple of things that I noticed. I just wanted to bring your attention, and I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself because I said like I didn't hear everything. But under the director's report, it says that there was a new landscaper. That's incorrect. And let's hope something's changed since the last meeting. We don't have a new landscaper. We had talked about different suggestions on going forward who would replace our landscaper, but there wasn't anything decided. So, and then just
Okay, so that should be, we need a new landscaper. Is
Yeah.
that what it should say?
And no annuals were planted yet. That was just discussion of the future that we're going to be.
Okay, well, that's what I'm wondering.
and then later, still I think in the director's report section, and this is just, it got switched around, but it said something about in Mystic going to the Groton Marriott. It's actually in Groton going to the Mystic Marriott.
So switch Mystic to the ground.
Okay.
anything else? Okay, so we have a motion to accept the minutes with amendment. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor of accepting the minutes?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Abstentions?
So that's not a quorum, is that okay?
It's a quorum. Quorum doesn't have to all vote the same. So you can abstain and we still have a quorum.
Right, got
Can I say something else? I'm sorry. I just got a call from, or I should say a text message from Joy. She's coming, but she said she's just running late.
Okay.
it. Is Jen coming tonight?
No, Jen emailed me earlier today and I asked Hope to send her the recording. Okay, so let's move on to the minutes of March 27th. We have the report of the month, but I was on Zoom, so I am not sure completely of what was going on. So anybody have anything to say about minutes of March 27th?
Some language that I see, particularly says that everyone on the board, this is talking about the library board basics. Is that everybody on the board stand behind what the board vote is, even if they voted differently in the library board meeting. So I don't know if that speaks, in my opinion, it does not speak for everybody.
But
From what
that
I
was
saw-
directly on the side that said, once the vote has been taken.
I
it's a
don't get that
cohesive-
perception on that.
It's in the slides.
It's up for discussion though.
No, it's not. It's not up for discussion. It specifically
Well,
says in
to me
the
it
slides.
is, to me it is.
Okay, but it specifically says in the slides that once the board has voted, the board must act as one, and everybody will back that decision whether or not they voted for it. It's in the slide.
Well, I question that, so I'd
Well,
like
you
to
can
see,
question it, so,
like to
slide
see
again. I don't know.
supporting evidence of that. Thank you.
okay.
I had just a couple of things. Where it talks about the front bake sale, it said that Joan had mentioned it. It wasn't Joan, it was myself, and I say that only because if I was out of line, I wouldn't want Joan to get into trouble for speaking if I was,
That's fine. Where is that?
Except the book sale.
The bottom of the first page. It says Joan said to friends.
Yeah, I saw that. Oh, okay. So Deb said friends.
Yeah.
And then just the very last line of the minutes, it's just a money is spelled wrong, that's all. We're concerned Mr. Tullis as far as, I think, asking Troy about the, what do you call it? Oh, handicap parking.
Great.
So it's just that was
Yeah.
beating you to a calf.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
Why am I not seeing bake sale in here? I'm trying.
It is
First page.
the dot, second up
Yeah.
on the first page.
Discussion on fundraising?
Yeah,
Where is bake sale? I see.
right
The
after
very
that.
first line
Can I
says
say bake
Joan.
sale instead of book sale?
Oh, book sale, yeah.
No, I'm
Oh, that's
sorry.
No book.
Oh, okay. Who's correct?
Mhm.
Got it.
Can you find it? Have you found it?
No, I know there's some place in here and,
Yeah.
because I've discussed it with
Okay.
Hope
Anything
a
else?
long time ago.
Okay, then I'd like to make a suggestion that we vote on it with the amendments for changing Deb's name in there, and correcting that one typo, but not taking out that sentence until we can show whether or not that is true.
Well, no, this is the.
Or you could just vote not to accept them. I mean,
Say that again, I'm sorry.
I said I am willing to entertain a motion to accept them with the amendments of changing Deb's name and fixing that one typo, but I do not want to change that line about the board standing behind things until we clarify that. So should we just table the vote on the minutes until we can prove that?
Yes, I
Okay,
think that's a good idea. Jan.
so we'll table,
We'll come back and write it again.
yeah, we'll table the minutes. Until our next meeting. Okay, director's report.
All right. So our patron engagement for last month, we had 845 patrons come in, 4 more than last year. I know last meeting Nick had mentioned a breakdown of the different types of patrons. So here's kind of a chart to see that a majority of our patrons are adult. Next, we've got the kiddos, out of towners, and this guy over here, the other is just like staff members, board members, you know, that little area. So there's a better breakdown of who's walking through our doors.
I'm impressed that we have almost 12% of out-of-towners coming in.
Yeah, and the whole thing with the Connecticut, the library passports, which I forgot to put on the report, has been a huge upbringing of people from out of town. So they have a little passport book and they get stamps from the different libraries. So we've met so many new people. Some have even gotten in our account, checked out books. So helping. This month, not as many interlibrary requests, only 18. It tends to slow down a little after Christmas and the holidays. We were informed that Lawrence Becker has sadly passed away last month on the 19th. Him and his wife were the ones that donated the land for the library. And in his obituary, in lieu of flowers, they put to send donations to the library. So we've received a couple donations. We have thank you letters in the works.
Are those donations just going into the straight donation account?
Yeah.
They're not being aside for something particular?
No, nobody's, they've all just been in his memory. Nobody's requested anything special, but it will go in there saying that they were from him, for him. Next is the Otis elevator. So we got an update saying that our elevator has an old analog phone that's about to be out of date. So they're replacing it with or they want to replace it with a new telephone. This is gonna be a bit of money. I sent the quote along. I believe it's $2,000 for installation. And then on top of our yearly maintenance contract with Otis, it would be an additional $60 a month. So for the board to consider, it's still good. It's still good to use. We don't use it that often, but of course you always get the chance that it'll be that one time. And they said the biggest thing is a communication breakdown in the service for the telephone. If something were to happen, it could take longer. There could be additional fees for using that phone that we incur from Otis.
So this is $2,000 to change the phone.
Yeah.
What's the $60 a month?
That's the $60 a month they're keeping to basically what everybody does. Yeah, like a subscription. And that's where they get you with the money end.
To keep the phone going?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I didn't know the $60.
Oh, yeah.
And what's our annual maintenance fee with Otis?
It's, I believe, just under $1,000 a year. It's
Okay,
like
so
nine
that's gonna-
something.
That's gonna bump it up to
Oh, yeah.
over 1,500, 1,600.
Easily.
So I see it says the Otis One Plus service. So to me, is that a tier above something that's another option or?
This is what they've put out for us now. This seems to be what they're going with. We haven't seen any other options. Basically, and Deb had sent me the same thing too. They sent along a quote that goes best with our elevator. But I can call and look in. This just happened recently, but I don't believe there's another option, but I'll make sure to call and check.
Okay. Yeah, it just gives that vibe. because it's
Yeah.
Plus.
No, I get that.
Okay, so this is not just a phone. Because it says it's access to our portal to provide you with real-time information on your elevator service. So it's not just a
Oh,
phone, it's a monitor.
Yeah,
too.
you're right. It's a monitoring service. Yeah, so you'd have the phone and then you'd have on our computers, we'd be able to go in and see the status of our elevator and
Is that necessary, do you think?
I don't
I don't think so.
so. I mean,
Is it acceptable to install a new phone but not get the subscription service? Is
Well,
it,
I'm
or is it
wondering after
old?
what Nick asked, that's the plus in the one.
Yeah.
plus.
Right.
yeah, I'll check that out
Yeah, like what
definitely.
parts of that go together and what parts are piecemeal?
Yep. I will definitely come back to you with that.
Okay. When is this quote good for?
We just got it today, yesterday, so it should be good for a while.
Okay.
But I'll make that call within the next week, so we should have no problem with that. And then next on our list, this month of April is Autism Awareness Month. The staff added sensory play into the library. In our children's room, on the table against the windows, we set up a whole sensory play with bins. There's fidgets, there's music. So there's different play in the children's room. And we actually got so many nice compliments recently, which is so nice. One of the people who did the passport said that our children's area was the nicest they've been to so far. I mean, I don't know what libraries they've been to, but we've just been receiving nice feedback. And in the youth area, we set up a little bin where the game section is now, and Steve came up with a pop play and put away. So when you're looking for books, you can use the little fidgets or, just something to introduce it to people. And so far it's gone over well. We have a springs display set up. Jen donated the seed garden last time. That's going really well. Patrons are over there all the time, getting the seeds that they want. The staff has made a display with all books, spring, gardening, and Bill, our custodian, has actually donated one of his bluebird houses. So we're doing the drawing this month for that, for the month of April, to try to raise a little bit of money for the library.
What are the donations that you're asking, just whatever people want?
Well, we have the little raffle tickets left over, so we're just doing $1 per ticket.
Can I ask about, I want to say one of the meetings we talked about birdhouses needing to be replaced?
And they are. Yeah,
Okay.
Bill made all new ones for the library, and the wonderful lady who attends to the houses called and said she'd be over this weekend.
Okay.
So they're all up and you can see them around. And yep. And then just 2 upcoming events that we're all aware of. The Willington Day is May 25th this year from 11 to 3. It's $15 a vendor space. I saw on the flyer they asked if you're there to stay for the whole time or if you need to leave to park on the side. I don't know how well that will go. And then the flea market's in September, and we can get 1 space, which is 20 feet by 30 feet for $30,
The yoga people just came out and turned the lights.
or half a space for $15.
The yoga people just came out and turned the lights back off. Turn it on.
Well, we're all here, we don't have to worry about somebody stumbling around.
Not true.
That was my concern.
But that's the end of the report.
That would be complicated.
Okay,
There's no ways on.
have you paid for these?
Not yet. They just both came through this week.
Okay.
Maybe they should buy those sleep
Mhm.
things. I don't wanna be rude to them, but on the other hand, okay.
Okay, any other
Okay,
comments
so
on the,
I have a couple comments.
Yeah.
Willington Day and the flea market. Question we have to think about, we don't have to immediately, is if we really wanna do those. It ends up with about 2 people sitting there for hours, or I don't know how much benefit we get out of it.
Well,
Yeah,
I
it
think we
used to
did
be.
last year simply because it was the same weekend as books.
Yeah,
So there were people that were coming and it's like, oh, I'm going to the library and book out today. It's not even close.
Well, what I was thinking is that the Wellington Day used to be like a participatory thing, you know, when it was at the at the central school. There are a lot of things to do for parents to do with their kids. And so if you do something from the library, you might do something that would be, and the kids were expecting to do things, you know. But now it's become a look and buy,
yeah, true.
you know, and it's not only Wellington, it's everybody around. And so I know personally, I'm not interested in it. You know, I don't go to it, I'm not interested in it, just because it isn't my kind of thing.
Personally, I know I cannot attend, I will be away.
I don't know. I don't know about
Is it possible to come up with something to do? Could Steve maybe come up with a program?
Yeah, I can talk to him.
When we've done programs, though, nobody participates then. Because they're so busy roaming around with the families. And it's not one of those things like it used to be at the school where, you know, mom could be here, but the kids could be in this section.
Yeah,
I mean, you could see what was going on, you could see where your kids were all the time, and it was a smaller and more convenient thing. So now this one to me is just, it's blown up, unless we can think of something that really, you know, the library could. Or they're selling things that they're doing.
I have a question, I don't know if it's feasible or not. When I was young and I couldn't drive, I loved books. We used to have in Meriden the bookmobile that came around every 2 weeks. I don't know if we could do it, it may be difficult to do, but can't we have like some top of bins of books that kids could look through and take them out? Or even books that we want to donate, do we have any books from the tag sale that we didn't, from the book sale that we didn't sell?
I did that at the flea market year before last.
Okay.
I had a couple of baskets of books and if kids would buy, it's like, oh, we have, and I had them for all ages.
No interest?
No, they went.
Oh,
oh,
I got a whole pile of books for young kids donated by, what's the used bookstore in Danielson? I can't remember his name. It's something and something. I don't know. But they were very nice and donated a bunch of young kids' books. But yeah, no, people were taking the books. Kids were rummaging through and stuff, but you had to let them know it was there because otherwise they did just walk by.
yeah, they got the word for sale.
So if we did something like that, giving away books and things, you think it would be attractive to people?
Well, like I said, it was at the flea market when I did it 2 years ago, particularly to the kids. And that, there was a whole basket of kids' books and a basket of young adult books separately. And like I said, they went.
So I don't know that we wanna do that twice. We wanna pick one of these events and follow through on it and see what happens.
Maybe Wellington Day is the shorter time commitment.
That might be the better day, only because it's more community involved.
Which one is?
Wellington Day is a shorter amount of time, more community and cheaper, frankly.
yeah, that's next month, the 25th.
I'm sorry that I can't help, but.
Is the 25th Memorial Day weekend?
Wait, is it? It might not be. Oh, it is. It is.
And what's the date on that?
25th of May.
Okay, we'll come around to that. That's beside the point. Okay, so do we wanna focus on?
Yeah, how many books do we have from the book sale left over? Do we?
Yeah, and there's more books. There's books that have been weeded, so I mean, there's books. And I can,
Go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say I can talk to Steve too and maybe do a little something on the side. I know they said in there too, there's no access to electrical. But it's only 2 hours, so if we have things charged, maybe, but maybe just like you said, give out the books.
Do the books-
Easy.
What if we design a kid's card and you use it, I don't know, 3 times at the library to get it stamped or something? You pick it up at the school
Yeah.
thing and you bring it in 3 times, you use the library or take it, and there's some sort of prize.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice.
Something really
That's actually
important,
kinda
like a
cool.
candy bar.
Yeah.
Whatever, but, something like that, so when they're there, as Karen did, she promoted coming to the library.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a really good idea.
Do we have any more t-shirts left? We could also
Mhm.
sell those.
And we're supposed
Oh,
to,
yeah.
and we should be wearing them.
Oh, I need to get
It's
one.
getting
Yeah,
t-shirt time,
definitely.
so I can start wearing it in the grocery store and things.
I let my younger
It's
girl
not
want the one with the owl.
Oh, yeah, I love that one.
I know,
I was talking about
I
purple.
don't like those.
Yes.
I don't like that.
Mhm.
But I put them on every so often.
I know, it's the right thing to
You
do.
know, then I get home and like,
Yes.
well, maybe we need to find some that are the women's style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I know, I just cut that off and hem. That's how I.
Also
handle
true.
Pinking shears.
it. No, pinky chairs don't really work on men. But no, I usually just cut their neck better and have it.
Well, that's an idea. Maybe we can do that. But anyways, okay, so we'll do that.
So we're doing the Wellington Day. I can ask the staff about the cards. If they have great ideas, we can come up with something. That's no problem.
Yeah, let the staff figure out exactly what they want.
What
Yeah.
do you have, if anything, for little stamps?
Mm,
Oh, I've got.
I have plenty of stamps.
all right.
Animal stamps.
I was a preschool teacher, I have all,
Oh,
We'll
Big
take them.
but I have no idea what to do with it anymore.
Well,
Well,
You want them?
yes, please. Yes.
There we go.
okay, anything else?
No.
Okay, then we'll move on to the treasurer's report.
So, last month, we talked about how there was, additional expenses on payroll. I talked to, I believe it was Hope,
Mhm.
right? And
Yep.
she looked at it, basically saying that, there was an extra pay period, ultimately, it seems to be. So there was no like additional money or something pocketed. So that's what that situation was. But as far as, the March revenues, we had interest of $1,672.83, patron fees of $116, building usage of $50, canceled check of $6.32, and miscellaneous income of $511. We saw grant money go away for this month. Let's see, we saw an additional, looks like building use went down about $320 approximately, miscellaneous, looks like it went up 300. I'm curious as to what that might have been captured in there.
Sure. So I believe like $40 of that was t-shirt money and the whole rest was the bookstore.
Okay.
Yep.
Awesome. So a total revenue of $2,356.15. For expenses, we had payroll of $13,948.79. Office supplies of $50.69, which went down about $450. Professional development of $580, which I believe is probably tied to the Groton.
Yes.
Okay. Payroll processing, $7.45. Building maintenance of $124.64, which was a decrease of approximately $1,300 from last month. Telephone, $155.81. We did not have the internet or security. Custodial supplies, $58.30. Propane, $780.57. I believe last month we were talking about how that was higher because it was a double bill
Yeah.
or so. So we did see a trend of that coming down though. Electricity $1,148.60, which was $1,200 less than last, which I'm guessing was double up last year.
Yeah,
And then books, $583.03, increase of $300. Audio, DVD, CDs, $347.07, not much of a change. And Friends of the Library, $164.99, which was a decrease of about $500. Total expenses, $17,949.94. And ending balance of $92,264.77. So we saw our revenues about $20,000 less, and expenses were about $18,000 less. From last month.
That worked out pretty well.
So, just side notes if you want.
Yeah, I didn't even stop to think about that third paycheck.
yeah, me neither.
I look forward to those when I get one
Me
in
too.
May. I look forward to those, I didn't even think to apply it, when we were talking about the extra money.
I didn't think about it. I forgot about
I think there was a question last meeting about who we make checks out. Did you say you had somebody?
And I can talk about that under new business or now or whatever you
Okay.
want.
I was just thinking of it because of, donations, this and that. Was I talking to you about?
I think
or,
maybe-
It's ultimately made out to the library.
Yes, yeah.
So,
Well, should I bring that up now?
whenever is appropriate. But
Okay, well, here we go. I keep pushing what's going on with Altrusa. Turns out their treasurer had been on vacation for a month and also missed some communication. But it's gonna be $1,000 donation in memory of Eileen Griffin for the Wellington Public Library. The treasurer is ready to write a check and send it. She just needs to be told the correct name and address of the library, like the full, Wellington Public Library, obviously. And the name of the specific person to whom it should be sent, if there is such a person. They have a request that you make, little paper, the plates that you put inside the cover, inside the fronts of the books that get purchased with that gift, indicating that they were given in Eileen Griffin's honor. And this is just kind of funny. They really like benches over at Altrusa. They really wanted to give you a bench. And I kept saying no. And Altrusa, I'm just looking them up. They're all about literacy in children, among other causes. So I was like, this should be books, and maybe
Yeah.
children's books would be the best thing, but it's totally discretionary on your part. So I have the name of the treasurer and her cell and her email. Hope or Deb, what do you want me to do with that? So that, should I just put you guys directly in touch with each other? Like I could email you this information tomorrow.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And you can
I
go from there.
Yeah,
Okay,
and let her know everything she needs.
okay, I will email you tomorrow.
That's nice.
Yeah, that was very nice.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be less than 1,000, but 1,000 is good.
Wow.
That's a couple of books, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, a couple.
Yeah, go
A
crazy.
lot of books.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, anything else with treasury stuff?
Have we heard from the Board of Finance?
Nope. Nope, I would let you know as soon as I hear from Board of Finance. Absolutely nothing. The meeting that I attended that Thursday, what Thursday was it that we went? I know it was right after one of our
2 weeks
meetings, the
ago, wasn't it?
14th.
Oh, yeah, I just saw the minutes from that.
Yeah, they were saying they were supposed to finalize the budget that night, but they weren't going to because they didn't have time, and the next meeting, the chair of the board couldn't be there, and so who knows what's going on, but nothing has been said about what's going on.
It just holds us in limbo. That's the problem.
Holds the whole town in limbo when they put it all.
Well, that's true. That's
Okay. Now, I didn't miss the meeting, I had to work, so I was on Zoom, and I really had trouble following the discussions that were going on with policy and procedures and with job descriptions. So I just like a little bit of fill-in on some of the things that were going on.
If you can pass one of those down to her, that's what I had just sent.
This is the one with like the little fonts in between.
Yeah.
I got one. Just making sure.
Yeah, lack of time.
Who did this come from?
I did that one, that was, That was from what you and Karen Ann had did, plus the ALA, plus what goes on like
You
with
just
us.
combined
Yeah, I
it.
just combined
Okay,
it.
well, I saw this.
Yep.
Ran it off today, but I wasn't sure who.
Yeah.
I ran it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so are we going on to discussing the job description
I believe so.
now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know what you were, like, open the topic. Okay, so I have a folder for that.
Can I ask, so developing employment, I mean, we're kind of going through that as a board right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's now like, would that situation be where whoever the director is can add another position that may not be a line item without board approval?
No, I don't think that's the case, because you would have to go through the whole process of like guys, but also through the town and Tish and her adding another
Okay.
line item. So it's
I mean, ultimately, I know we're not trying to put it there. What would that though mean?
I feel like it's just the employment like below us, like the pages, the clerks, like every library has the job titles, but it's how they're fitting to us. But like say like we have no page going forward, then we have to discuss with you guys bringing a page back on. But we present to you what that page would look like with the job description, but we would ultimately be showing you and then going to the town, hey, we need to re-add this line item, or vice versa, or whatever it may look like, or getting rid of a job, or maybe we don't have enough people, so people have to like combine that sort of thing. Yeah.
So, it seems like on some of these numbers, if we've got the same thing, there's some repeats, there's some way we can combine a couple of them.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So the developing employment and service policies, I'm with Nick, I have no idea what you meant by that, but you also have hiring, motivating, and evaluating and firing staff. So it could be that the director supervises staff. We can just, what did I do? I put down personnel on mine. I just went through the description,
Yeah.
the director here, and I just put down personnel.
Oh, yeah, we can do that.
That would mean
Right.
job descriptions. For the board, that would mean hiring, firing, evaluating. So, so what do you say, I don't wanna say oversee personnel, everybody's got a better word, Kathy's got the vocabulary, I don't.
What's wrong with supervisors?
Supervising personnel, okay. So it seems like several of these might have to do with that. The other thing that could be combined in some of these is the budget. Okay, prepares the budget. That could go with the.
Fiscal matters, or no?
Yeah, the fiscal matters and everything else would go in with that.
Okay.
Maintaining the payroll and attendance record, the maintaining, that would do with,
Personnel supervision.
supervision and also, with budget, depending on how you wanted to, if you wanted to break that up. So can you see what I mean?
Yeah,
The way I
definitely.
looked at that and said, okay, wait a minute, what are we doing? And a couple things that we had before and the things that Karen and I worked on, were missing out of here, but we put it, for the director, strategic planning. is really good, that, you know, there's
Yeah.
several things come under that. Fundraising, other than grants, because grants came in under assistant over here. So it would be fundraising and town liaison. So there were 5 main fields, 5 main focuses that I found in the director when I studied this. And I also looked at what the other
And they
things
were,
that we had. The 5 I had were budget, personnel, strategic planning, fundraising,
okay,
and town
okay, hold on.
liaison. Oh, I'm sorry.
I can't spell, STRAT.
STRAT, just put that. That's what I did,
Planning.
STRAT planning.
Okay.
Fundraising and town liaison, however you want to word that. But be the one that deals with the town when there are issues. The other thing that came up in, I don't know, was the Connecticut thing, was the, receiving complaints, et cetera, and solving, problems like that. I don't know how to work, I don't remember how it was worded, but I remember reading it in one of those. And I was like, wow, I never thought of that.
That wasn't your description, right? That was
Yeah, that was,
the other one from me.
but if we find that someplace.
Or maybe that was the oldest one.
Yeah. But I was looking through some, and I saw that, so I wondered, do we want that in that or not?
Does doing the reports go in with the budget? You know, the state report, the town report, those sorts of things, do those come under budget?
No, those might just be another field we need to put in here, we may need to have a
It's here.
sixth one,
It's
which
here.
is.
Yeah.
Oh, I know, it's, I know
No,
it's,
it's a break.
Joe was coming up with 5 main topics.
Oh, you're trying to give umbrella categories.
Yeah,
I think I just thought it was.
I don't think that's financial necessarily. I think that's patron counts. I think that's
So,
upgrades to the
Yeah,
facility, anything.
definitely.
this would be,
Count like one of them.
that's a good idea.
this would be,
I don't know, like review and report or
yeah.
profile or
Yeah,
Um,
the state report, the town report.
state of the union.
So I have a question, because some of these overlap into policies and procedures. So I see that the 2 bullet points here, are we looking, as far as on the agenda, are we looking to have this as where the job descriptions are gonna be bullet point, and then we can elaborate within policy and procedures? It's one thing that jumps off the sheet here is firing of staff. I'm not saying, I'm not applying anything. I'm just saying, I'm looking down the road 20, 30 years, right?
Mhm.
You don't never wanna have a director that is gonna be, abusing their power, firing, hiring, and stuff like that. So having maybe a policy, I'm just using this as an example, where if the director was to fire somebody, the assistant director has to sign off on it, so there's check and balances. Are we going to do that within policy and procedures? And then keep
It
this
belongs
as
in
bullet?
policy and procedures, not in a job
Okay,
description.
that's what, okay, thank you.
Yeah. But I think it's a good point.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay, well anyways, that's just the way I looked at it, is I guess I'm thinking, and then if we decide that we've got so many categories, then we can sit down and, redefine, because you're right, the one word isn't gonna solve,
Correct.
isn't gonna do anything.
yeah.
Now I looked at the assistant, that was easier. When you look at the assistant, you'll saw too, was it the state that we looked at it the other day, and they were all technology?
Yes,
most of them?
a lot of
The
them.
state one, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those have to do with technology. And so, maybe saying, my first field for that one was technology.
Mhm.
The second one was volunteers. And, because that isn't covered anyplace else, and we do need somebody to keep track of that. And the third thing we don't have there is grants.
Is that not a fundraising which the other director's in charge of?
Well, there's fundraising, and do you wanna put fundraising and grants in the same
Oh,
thing?
oh, oh,
Now, that could be, but, the searching for grants is so,
oh, John, interesting.
yeah, I mean, and the, assistant director, time-wise, no, I'm gonna have Hope's probably gonna throw something at me. It looks like, time-wise, you might have more time for grants than the director, that was all.
Can I,
don't know.
oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Nick.
No, I don't want to.
No, that's where I got with them. The things that we're missing is building maintenance. Did we have that any place? And what acquisitions, would they go to the technology person too? Because we're talking about ebooks and things like that too. So I don't know, that's up to you, but those were two things in reading other people's that I realized we were missing on what we had said.
Mhm.
So my 2 cents is currently we have job descriptions already written. I just caution us to rewrite something when we already have something there, and maybe we can add it and subtract what is already written, instead of rewriting the whole thing, it's already there.
The only one we have is the director.
So I'm looking at the director and
Then there's a library,
library assistant.
but I'm not sure, looking at that.
From terminology, could that be?
I believe library
Assistant
1,
director?
2,
Yeah.
and
We
paid,
actually have
and
them all.
custodian, and paid.
Yeah,
Where
We
did
have them all.
where did you get that paper?
I sent it
This
This is, we got it a month or two
a
ago.
little bit ago.
It's in our work.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look here.
Because on this, I mean, what I also like is it touches upon qualifications
But
and such.
that is just not in this, that's gonna have to.
Yeah,
come
that's
at
what I
some
thought,
point.
like this was like a rough draft and then going forward, we
Yeah, this-
condense and
this-
add.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
job descriptions, it doesn't include, qualifications and
In this,
those sorts of things.
on the directors here too, that we have, some of them would be ones that would be being done by the assistant.
Yeah.
So it's not that anything on here isn't valuable, it's
Oh,
just
yeah.
dividing it up.
But this one does in fact include manages operations and maintenance of library
Yeah,
facilities, so
yeah.
there's that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you, I'm not sure why we're starting all over again. And then in addition, I know this is like so picky, but it's not at all parallel, some say, they're gerunds, some of them say maintenance, some are just simple present tense, some are, at least this one is already written in a grammatically parallel form.
Well, this isn't anything complete, and
I
I mean,
know.
certainly would not
I
be
know,
presented
it's
this.
just rough draft, I know we would look at it again, and we
Well-
would tweak it, but why would we not?
Originally, last year, the question was, how did we split this job
I see.
description list of
I see.
what's in the directors? That was where we wanted to go, was simply taking this stuff and splitting if we had to.
This was also written in, it was revised in 2012. And there were a lot of technology changes and changes to the library that have to be incorporated.
Sure, and we can do that.
But you're right, this is a good basis to work on, and you're right, we will have to write it in parallel construction.
Mhm.
Because one thing I do like is, like, I don't want to have something where we're limited 5 bullet points or 6, because now when you start limiting that, there becomes confusion as to what really is yours and not, right? Where here, like I'm just touching upon, creates MAR mark records for OPAC, right? I mean, that's very clear that the assistant, it looks like the assistant would be doing that, right? It's not up for like, who is doing that? Where that might come up if you're limiting the bullet points to 5,
Well,
10,
yeah,
or
I
something
think
like that. So
all
we
I did
should be
was-
specific too on many things with Hope and Deb,
Yeah.
saying, hey, you know, we might need this acronym of whatever it is nowadays included in here,
Yeah.
saying director or co-director is gonna do that.
So should we order from this list and then just
I
go
think this is a
Well,
point
good
by
point.
point and say
That's-
assistant
Yeah.
director?
That's
Yeah.
what I'm thinking.
I
And so
think
you
we
retype it
should.
up and then we can go over that.
Yeah, exactly.
I think we should, stick with our topics here and then put them.
If you want, I'm
It's
sort of,
just to me that to write technology 7 times doesn't make sense, if you can say technology.
and then have
and-
subtopics.
Yeah.
That does make sense, but I agree too that in job descriptions, more is more. And just streamlining for the sake of brevity is not anybody's friend. I think it's better to spell everything
Creates
out.
confusion.
Yeah, and then ambiguity and then potential disagreement.
How would it be if we just took this right now as we have it and just go through
That's
each
what I'm saying,
one,
yeah.
and we go through, okay,
That's good.
yeah, and
Yeah.
then we take this, somebody types it up, come back in 2 weeks, 4 weeks,
I think that's a good
whatever,
approach.
and then go through this and see how this, after we figure this one out,
Yeah.
goes along with this. And
I
then
said, a year
combine
and a half
the two
ago,
of
when we
them.
started all of this, the point was simply to take the director's job description and split it into 2 people.
Right,
That was the idea of what we
Right.
wanted to do.
But why would we do that if it's already, it appears to already be split if library assistant 1 is co-director?
Library
No.
assistant 1
It's
is
not.
not, that's
Oh, okay,
processor.
okay.
no,
That's
Yeah.
different.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where some of it.
Assistant 1's processor, assistant 2 is our programmer.
And
Assistant one is processor.
Yeah.
You're doing something I'm doing, to keep it easy.
I know, like, when I hear you say that, I just wanna make sure I know what.
Well,
Right.
no, wait a minute, where is that? Assistant one.
Yeah, I
We
just
have
took it from
aide,
that.
custodian.
Right, exactly.
Well, library assistant 1,
Is the program.
No, that's
So
assistant.
that's
2.
processor.
Processor,
Number 1 is
sorry.
processor.
2 is programmer.
Right.
Which we should not be even necessarily going too much in detail, right? That would be
That
up to them.
somebody, yeah.
So we shouldn't spend too much
That's
energy on
right.
something like that.
Programmer here. Okay,
So basically,
now,
So at the end of the day, page 1, correct?
why don't we do that quick right now and just,
You need a copy, Carrie Ann, because I need one too. Can I copy yours, Joy?
yeah.
Thank you.
Do you have that somewhere typed up in your
I sure
computer?
do.
And it'll be like really, really quick for you just to take out the sentences, cut and paste?
Yeah.
They'll be, okay. Is it possible if you can get that done and send us all a copy, so our next meeting we can like go through that and say, we agree with what you did or something?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get it all going here. I'm doing your job, I'm sorry.
No, I've been trying to get this done for a year and a half, seriously, or
I
more,
know you have.
more than that. maybe.
Trust me, before we even try,
Yeah,
before
So-
you, it's like, yeah,
so, yeah, you.
8
want
years
it-
ago, come on.
You want to be pushy, please be pushy.
well. Okay, so where did we put that? Okay, so let me see.
So the ALA job description may come in handy in capturing what in particular the director is supposed to do, keeping that within what's already drafted. And whatever bullet points are not there, maybe put them over to the co-director.
Okay, so.
And once we get this one,
Yeah.
but once you
Because-
just figure it out, then we can
Nick,
compare it.
you should understand that the idea of splitting these is not just because we were going to do an assistant director and a director. The idea of splitting one was more to clarify what Hope was doing and what Deb was supposed to do.
Correct, at a co-director
Yeah,
level.
that was
Yeah.
the original idea of splitting this.
Mhm.
And It never got done.
So from a time standpoint, what I've experienced, the assistant sometimes takes on a heavier load than the director, because the director needs to be freed up to step in.
That is frequently.
While
the case, yes.
we had approached this situation, we probably should be mindful of that.
This one is a little bit nebulous.
Might I ask when was the meeting started?
Usage by
7:06.
groups. Then we put into, where was that?
When did you come in?
7:20. 7 hours late.
Facility,
So this is what I have. I didn't add your name.
Okay, thank you.
While we're doing that, can we do it back? Can I get some water, please? Thank you. I'm too lazy to get up and walk over there.
okay, so that was the assistant. So this is. I think we're on this split up. Okay.
Okay, so you guys already went through the minutes?
Yeah.
Can I ask what the changes were?
Oh,
'Cause
I'll just
I'm gonna
pass-
have to
I'll
write them in this
yeah,
one.
no, I didn't think to pass you those.
That's okay.
So this is the one from the 13th, and, we tabled the 17th because there was some debate on the second paragraph of the new business. Other than that, all I.
Oh, where it says the board watched an overview of the seminar?
Yeah, there was some debate on that.
Oh, okay.
Other than that, it says under discussion on fundraising, it's Deb, not Joe. And then there's a typo in the very last one.
Okay,
So as we separate these two, I just,
I don't know if it's easier that these guys are separated, so it's just director.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Anybody needs, you need a direct one?
Oh, I got it. It's
Yeah,
your name.
mine
right?
is in there.
Your name's in there?
I just
No,
don't
no.
know what I have here.
It was supposed to be money,
Oh, got it.
and it says Monday. No, my name's fine.
Do you have a capital A or a small a?
It's capital, but
No dash? Because I've seen it spelled all different ways. Your name too, all different ways.
yeah,
Is it J-O-A-N?
any,
for Joan, yes.
J-O-A-N.
Yeah,
Okay.
but
Um,
if it's in my legal name, it's Joanne.
I gave up a long time ago, Joy, caring about how people spell my name.
I don't either, but I just gotta
I
get it right.
understand.
So as we separate these bullet points, is it appropriate to have Hope and Deb say yay or nay? Just because, you know, if they're both split or if they're both saying, hey, that should not go to assistant, at least we get that feedback too. I know it might be tedious, but I mean, probably worth that extra time.
Okay, well. Go down this list. For our old one, looking at the, I went to the categories that we had.
Anybody want to highlight here, I guess?
Okay.
That's the good thing.
Operates the library according to policy and within the budget.
That's a straight director thing.
Yeah. that's-
I agree.
The second one, I don't even think that should be there, because assist the library board of directors.
We don't
in
do that.
recruiting and hiring staff, we don't do that.
Okay.
So delete.
So, or just say, recruits and hire staff? I mean, 'cause that's gotta be in here somewhere.
I have to wonder
So-
our-
This gets into what I was kind of touching upon earlier as far as having a check and balance. If we have, at some point, a director and co-director that are abusing their power or so, I mean, that responsibility could be appropriate at some, maybe it's, I don't know at what level, assistant or director, but.
Well, the director,
And maybe that just goes into the policy and procedures
Yeah,
and take it out.
that might be it, the director usually takes care of the assistant director, as the, probably would come to the board, in all practicality and say, we have this issue, I want to let this person go, or something like that. I would assume that that's the way you would do it. As far as the director, that's the board decision.
Can we just say works with the assistant director in recruiting and hiring staff, then you've got 2 people?
Change it from library board to,
I would.
I'd be more
I would
comfortable with
just-
that.
I just take it right out.
But then there's nothing in here about hiring anybody. That's the only line.
Well, that becomes in policy. It's not the director's.
You have it in the other updated one.
It's gotta be somewhere.
Why did you
in
not-
there.
You put in the other one, hiring, firing, motivating, and evaluating. Do you not want that in
I
there?
don't think I wrote that.
Well,
Okay, can we take that line out and just go to the 3rd line, train supervisors and schedules all staff, including volunteers?
what's Hope and
So then
Deb's opinion?
This would be more Deb because this is before me. I've never been with the director to fire or hire, besides the last of Clee, so.
Deb, do you have any input on this?
To be honest with you guys, I'm totally lost at what you guys are trying to, or what you're doing. Could you repeat, Nick, that question? I'll answer that one. What you were
So
just,
ultimately, we're using the guide from, that's already in place, Wellington Public Library job descriptions. And we're going through the line items, the bullet points here, and separating which one's gonna be in the director's box and which one's gonna be in the co-director's box. And we're at the bullet point number 2 of assistants, and this is an email that was sent out on March 27th, in case you need it for reference. Assist the library board of directors in recruiting and hiring staff. So there's conversation of eliminating that completely, or maybe changing the library board of directors to maybe say assist with the a co-director in recruiting and hiring staff.
I would hope that the co-director would have say or input as far as helping. I would think the final say would be, though, after considering, say, other people's opinions or thoughts or recommendations, that they would have that last say.
yeah, and I think we wanna have it worded as assistant director, no co-directors anymore.
Yeah, I
right?
was confused.
Yeah, my
Okay,
Both of
like,
you
wait a
said.
second.
my apology on
So maybe
that.
cooperates with the assistant director in the hiring.
It says to assist the library.
Can I suggest something, only because it's
We're eliminating that.
Deb's trying to say something, Deb's trying.
when you, I'd like to just share something that was shared with me. When you're talking about having a director and co-direct, no, I'm sorry, assistant director and splitting that up, did you guys ever think about like categorizing things as far as what would be like administrative, like, and what would be like operational? As far as, and then under things like administration, you would put like your personnel things that you're speaking about, whether hiring or firing or, things like that? Is that, is it too late in the game to throw that in as a thought?
Well, that's exactly what Joan was trying to do off a list that she had. But we moved off of that list just onto the straight one out of our
So we're
books.
going with what we have existing job descriptions. We did have in the past 2 people that were assistant directors. Did you guys, I'm at a loss here because I don't have any paperwork or anything in front of me. Everything's at work. Do you do you have in your packet there that you guys are going through job description for an assistant director? Because there should be one. I say that to maybe help. and
We have
help.
an ALA one and another one that I believe you and Hope had maybe came up with, correct?
Nothing
Yeah, I
prior to that.
I couldn't find one, Deb, for the assistant director, and one's on my computer.
Because we did have two people that, there was one under our first director and then under our second director, she had an assistant. So in the beginning, there were them.
That would be helpful to have.
But yeah, I'm surprised there isn't one, but again, it goes back quite a few years. And I don't have anything in front of me.
I think that she's thinking about the
Thought
library.
we had one.
So so my take is on this second bullet point, assist and changing the terminology from assist, moving this to an assistant director and assist with oversight of director in recruiting and hiring staff. Because it is more of an administrative thing where the CEO is not necessarily maybe doing the hiring and firing, it's the people underneath them. So put that as an assistant director doing that. But there is oversight with the director involved if need be.
I would think that sounds appropriate. I do believe the director should have the final call, but yes, the assistant should be, have a part in it as well.
So I don't know how you want to word that.
Well, from proper, maybe you can touch upon that, but at least putting it into the assistant director's category.
I mean, so you wanted to run to the assistant, you wanted to say cooperates with the director in the recruiting and hiring of staff.
Well, I don't think that was what it was saying. It wasn't cooperating with, it was the assistant director having
The main role?
the main role of
Okay.
working with the director to finalize.
Okay, all right, well then the other way around.
Well, yeah, the word cooperate could be defined in multiple ways.
But we don't want it defined in multiple ways in here. We want to be clear that
So who is the hirer of people?
the assistant director would do everything that was involved in hiring, interviewing, all of that sort of
All
stuff.
right.
But then would get a final approval from the director.
What if we put it as put it underneath the director saying, director supersedes the.
That's not what you mean.
No, it needs to be under assistant director.
Okay.
I have an issue with this. I think all personnel should come under the director. Because we have this maintains payroll and attendance records. The attendance records are a part of the evaluation. Eventually, we'll have to have evaluation things. And I think that it is the director who will decide who gets hired. Now, that doesn't mean the director can't say to the assistant director, you know, we need a new clerk too. Will you take over, you know, doing et cetera. It's, again, we have to look at some things that are more oversight than actually having to fill out the forms.
That's true.
Thing, you know, so I think that personnel, being that personnel is the number one thing that we spend money on here, and the number one thing that keeps the library going, I think it should be under the director. And the director is responsible for hiring and managing all personnel issues. Just say the director is responsible for personnel, all personnel issues, and that's hiring, firing, and keeping track of,
But then you're not keeping the same,
and evaluating.
you're not keeping the same. I don't know what you
There's no
call it.
balancing check there, though.
No, that's not even what I'm saying. Kathy wants them all to read the same way, and I don't know.
Well,
What
Well, that can come later.
Kathy can find her gerunds, which is just a participle used as a noun. There is no such thing as a gerund.
Yes, there is,
And
but it
you
is a
can go to
personal use
Dr.
of the
Wells' grammar written in 1879, which is the book I learned from.
You don't have to woman-splain grammar today, I'll do it later if you want.
No, it's just, this old teacher would refuse to use the word jail.
Oh, well, it's in Latin, it's a real thing, so.
I know.
So what is the consensus
Yeah.
on this? Where does it need to fall? Cause I do believe it needs to be assistant director, but I mean, it needs to be,
It needs to be in the director, and Kathy can word it for us,
Okay,
give her the job.
Sure.
okay, we've got competing things here. So, this is where Nick said that maybe we need to vote on things at some point. How many people think it should be under the director, and how many people think it should be under the assistant director?
and I hope and Deb have a say in that though, because,
I didn't say that.
no, I'm not saying not, I'm just,
I mean, this is.
I wanna include that.
This isn't an official board vote.
No, I know
Nobody's
that, I
making a
know.
motion or anything.
No, I know.
But I just like to hear from everybody what they think, because we know Joe wants it under director, we know Nick wants it under assistant director. I wanna know what other people think.
Oh,
I would go with Joan and say under the director for personnel issues, because then, like you guys said, you can delegate to underneath you, but it falls in your category. So I will go with director. Deb?
That's pretty much what I was saying too. So I would agree with Hope as far as that goes, to put it under director. I mean, certainly people are going to talk and speak and share and, whatever ideas. But as far as putting it in writing as such, then I would agree to under director.
Hey, Joe, in your opinion?
I don't like being the title here.
Well, so far, we're 3 for director and 1 for assistant, so you're not a tie vote.
Yeah. I can't do quick math in my head. I kind of agree with it being put under the director, only because the assistant director, I don't think should be given the ability to recruit, hire, and fire staff. That should be the director's position, the overall person that does the library, so, I'm gonna say director. Although if the assistant director, they can always put their 2 cents in, I mean, it's not just the director, they can talk together on
Yeah,
this,
well, I
not an
think-
issue.
I think the idea was if it went to the assistant director would do all the hard work
correct.
and then go to the director.
Correct, that's my approach, is
Yeah.
that the assistant's doing everything, and then that last hour is the
Well,
director steps in and
work.
bottom lines everything.
I think that's how it normally operates in a
That's how it
school.
well,
If
most
you-
businesses are like that too.
Right, I mean, like right now, there's a search for a position of authority at EO Smith, and the principal is heading the committee that will involve a Board of Ed member, that will involve a parent, that will involve another director within the building, and possibly a couple of department teachers. And then they will bring names forward ultimately in the search that will go to the superintendent for approval and the Board of Ed. So the superintendent will get the short list of the culled group. So the buck stops there, but
Correct,
all of the delegation of the processing, and the meeting and the interviewing and the sample, activities that they're gonna put this person, the candidates through, that goes through the principal, the next person down in the hierarchy.
that's why I like when you use cooperates with the director, like underneath the assistant,
Right.
cooperates with the director in the hiring, recruiting, and such. I like that terminology for that.
Sure.
I mean, now that you say it that way, I could see it that way as long as the bottom line was like the final say of the director.
Correct,
Like it
yeah.
could be there, I could see it there too, like, yeah.
What we're doing here is, where is the final say?
Final say is with the director.
Yes.
I
not with
think,
you.
I agree with
It's
that.
just
Okay.
who's
So
doing
this
the
should be,
the dirty work.
he's in charge of personnel. Now, the way he wants to break it up, is up to him, but that's where the buck stops on this. Yeah, so, anyways,
I think the power is still given to the director, even if it falls underneath the assistant director, because it mentions it cooperates with the director. It's still giving the power to, it's not taking that power away. It's
And
just a legwork thrown on the assistant director.
well.
Yes, hold on, Deb.
Got that.
something.
No, I just want to share when I'm hearing all this, it makes me think of why Hope and I, and we'd shared with the board prior, uh, wanted to have like 2 people instead of just one, because doing it the way you're saying, it gives a check and balance to things where you know what someone else is doing instead of all power being just on one person, where in the past, when that's been the case, they pretty much have gone away with a lot of wrongdoing kind of thing, because there wasn't someone else that it was shared with, which is why the 2 co-directors, well, for other reasons, came about. And also, I would hope, why you're doing the director and assistant director. So there's not only sharing of the workload, but also sharing of the accountability as well.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
You're right on that, yes.
I agree. So I think it's with you right now.
Dan with me. I go with the director has a final say, but the, excuse me, the assistant does the dirty work.
I think that the director has the final say, has to be written into this.
Yeah.
If you want to take an assistant and put it under the assistant director, fine. But someplace there, we have to say that it is the director who is ultimately responsible. So what if we put here that,
Basically, we're gonna have
assumes
two
the
line items.
responsibility for personnel issues. And that's all the personnel in there. And then if you want to go under assistant director, that assists the director in personnel issues. And so it would clear more than just hiring and firing. It would also be recruiting. It might also be in assigning jobs, et cetera.
Who does the valuations then? The director? Oh, how does it work now? Who does evaluations?
We have not had evaluations.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's the answer.
And so
No,
that would
There have been no
to say-
evaluations.
Yeah.
We haven't evaluated Hope and Deb. They haven't really evaluated, and we have not evaluated ourselves.
I know in the military, I haven't been evaluated since the military, but I mean, it was always my direct boss that would evaluate us, and the only person, and so basically the assistant director would be evaluating personnel, right? And then, director would evaluate assistant director,
That's
and
probably
then
the
we
most
would-
practical way.
and then we would look at the director.
You're right, so, okay, so we'll say, we have to have something written up for assistant.
And then okay, now that I know that we don't do them or haven't done them in a while, is it the library board's purview to develop what those evaluation tools look like, what those protocols are?
For the director,
I would probably do that at a different meeting.
A different meeting,
But I agree with you,
No, I
yeah,
just
yeah.
wonder, I mean,
In
there
conjunction,
should be some consistent tool for that.
correct.
yeah, we certainly developed the one for the director, and we could certainly work with the director to develop
One,
ones
right,
for
right,
everybody
okay.
else.
Okay, trains, supervise, and schedules all staff, including volunteers.
I'm sorry, before the second bullet point, where are we there?
Well, there has to be a bullet point put in here that the director is ultimately responsible for the personnel.
Okay, so it's staying with the director?
Yeah, and then
Wait,
the
no,
assistant,
no.
you can write in on the assistant's role that his job is to assist the director with personnel issues.
So there would be 2 bullet points for that one line item.
Yeah. So one in the director and one in the assistant. So,
I just caution later on that there's a potential for conflict there, but I go with you if that's the path forward.
well, you can't give, if you just say assist. No, I don't think the conflict would be any greater if we did it the other way, really. You still have,
I don't know, I'm for the assistant director recruits and hires with final say
Going to the director.
going to the director.
Correct.
And then the director's position would be assuming responsibility for the recruiting and hiring. Or all personnel issues is what John said.
Can you repeat the last part? Assistant director recruits and hires. Um,
And hires staff with final approval
okay,
from the director.
thank you.
And so the director would have no oversight on hiring and firing?
No.
Okay.
No, the director has the final say, so the director, I mean, as Kathy said, I've never personally interviewed with the big mucky muck in any job I've ever had. You know, when I interviewed for the job I've got now, I did not interview with the department head. I interviewed with the head of undergraduate education. He and a committee, there were 3 people that interviewed me, then presented their findings to the department head, who did then pass them on to the dean, who then passed them on to who knows where. So basically, as Joy said, it's really just a matter of the assistant director doing the dirty work, but the director having the final say.
It is interesting under ALI, I mean, not that we have to go with anything they prescribe, but this one purely has the personnel issues under director, and there's no mention of it under assistant director. Other than assist the library director in personnel and budgeting and building and administrative matters. I mean, if we wanted to borrow that wording, is that clear enough? Is
Well,
that,
then it dumps it back entirely to the
Right.
director.
so I mean, what,
Because if you just say assist the director, that still gives the majority of the
I
job
see
to the
that,
director.
I just wonder, maybe it is more appropriate to put everything on the director. If in fact the assistant director is already busy with other things more technology related or,
Okay,
I don't know.
I got a suggestion. Let's look at all the other bullet points and get back to this.
Yeah, and personnel is a particularly sensitive thing on the job site too.
Mhm.
So
Right.
you have to think
Can I
about
just say
it.
one
You're right,
last thing?
Karen.
Yeah.
The way I'm thinking that we're setting it up with the assistant doing all of the mucky muck or the dirty work or whatever you wanna call it, and then the director having the final say, is just like us making a committee for gardening, building maintenance, whatever, having them do all the running around and then they present back to the board. Example, myself and Mary Pat were on the hiring committee for when we were looking for a director. We did the mucky muck, we got all the employee, all the resumes, we had all the interviews, we had all the letters of recommendation that we followed up on. Then we brought all that information back to the board, you remember all this, and we did our presentation. And then the board made the final say. So that's the same way that we're doing it with this, am I correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm on the same page already.
Okay.
With everything's being,
Sounds
gone
good.
back and forth, it's like, it's hard to.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's-
I'm sorry.
no, that would be the idea.
Okay.
Somebody would be collecting all the stuff,
Okay.
making some recommendations and presenting them to whoever the director is. But I don't know how you phrase any of that. Well, like I said, I think I don't have any, what time is it?
It is 8:29.
Yeah, it's 8:30 and we haven't gotten past the second bullet point yet. So I'd like to make a suggestion that we just think about that and how we would word it and what we would do. And move on and look at some of these others.
Okay.
It trains, supervises, and schedules all staff, including volunteers. I read that as staff, it's clerks and things. And I put that under assistant because that's where I had volunteers put in. And that's the word that jumped out at me. Besides, that is more muck work, I thought. understand, okay.
Just fun fact, muckety muck means fancy person. It doesn't mean dirty work. Just wanted to
No,
clarify.
it just means the nitty gritty.
I know what you meant, but that's not what the word actually means.
And maintains personnel files, including an accounting of records of benefits per employee. I put that under director,
I think that's director.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because that's really a lot of confidential.
And so would the next one, preparing,
All the- yes,
filing
the
and
report,
maintaining all
yes.
the reports.
and you guys had that on your truncated list too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing with the fiscal matters,
Yeah.
right? Yep,
Yeah.
Physical matters. yeah.
definitely the main director.
Okay, but I don't think the director needs to order maintains
No,
costs.
No, I put that under assistant.
Yep.
I put performs acquisition of all library materials, although I didn't quite know what all library materials meant. But I thought maybe they're ordering supplies for cleaning too.
Yeah, that could mean
True.
books or it could mean
Okay,
supplies.
I
Should we-
use library materials as books, audio, ebooks, that sort of thing, I didn't,
Well,
I
we
didn't
could-
look at it.
Maybe we need to specify.
Yeah, I think we should split it up more, because right now, as co-directors, like, I do more, I mean, we both do purchasing, but I do more of the, like, maintaining the budget, like, when Nick does his thing, so I think if we do separate it and give the assistant at least purchasing for, like, books or stuff like that, it be easier on the director for,
The two of them, they're order and maintain supplies as needed. That could be any kind of paper supplies as well as
Yeah.
cleaning supplies.
That's right.
And performs acquisition of library materials. That would be, just to update the wording, how would we, is it,
Let's see what ALA has to say.
library materials of all media, you know, for areas, so it doesn't mean books.
But it doesn't mean office supplies,
No, that would go under
the one
the,
above it.
yeah, the one above it.
I'm just trying to
We should
clarify
have
the
numbered
result.
these things, it would have been easier.
Yeah.
To get that.
Yeah, actually, I think ALA has the assistant doing all of that.
The book acquisitions as well.
Doing all of what?
Recommends technology related and patron related policies, where did I say it? Oversees technical services department and coordinates materials budgets for, maybe it doesn't say it, hold on.
Yeah, no, we're assuming the assistant does the tech stuff.
Okay,
The evaluates, purchases, installs, and maintains library hardware and software, I did see it in there, they have it under assistant director.
Right,
Okay, so,
so all library materials, books, hardware, software. Are we expanding what we mean by materials?
well, here we've
Yeah,
got, a little later, we've got ensures computer systems are kept up to date and running smoothly.
that should be under,
This is kind
Whatever.
of, that would, so library materials, should we put,
yeah, because that would,
there's some modern wording I've seen to encompass all these things. The computer systems as well as,
Let's see, what does ALA say? I assume ALA is pretty current, right?
mhm.
I mean, technology, just
So-
technology.
Performs acquisition of all materials, media, software, hardware.
Yeah,
I mean, under ALA, it has under assistant director, evaluates purchases, installs and maintains hardware and software and all related items in conjunction with the director.
Right, we understand, but we're trying to figure out,
What the materials are called.
yeah, how to.
It's not, it's oddly enough not here. And that's like what a library really is at its
Yeah.
core, it's bizarre.
I think maybe they're lumping everything for hardware and software as everything the library buys, but.
But it's,
I'm sorry, but
that's not.
does that mean that
It's too
hardcover
vague.
books are hardware?
But it's everything else, you have
Yeah.
puzzles here, and you have
It's too
games, and you
vague.
have toys, and
Yeah.
there's all kinds of things.
Yeah.
Um,
The office supplies,
Um,
vendors.
we can do media, software and printed materials.
Oh, it would have to be software, hardware, and printed
Yeah.
materials.
Well, no, we're talking about various media, films and things
Yeah.
like that. software, and then operates, here it says, ensured computer systems are kept up to date and running smoothly. That might be changed to,
Develops technology assessments and plans based on customer.
develop,
Yeah,
develop current computer systems, including software, maintenance and purchasing. And you see, there's two here, so we can do one to do with the hardware and one to do with the printed materials.
Mm.
I can't
Okay,
read
so I can't even read what I just wrote. I seriously have no idea what I just wrote. What did you say, Joe?
Well, we did performs the acquisition of all
No,
library materials. Okay, and then
I'm talking about the computer system. When I wrote the verb down, and they don't know what it is.
ensures computer systems are kept up to date and running smoothly. We can say, now what was the word we're going to use?
See, that's the problem. I can't read the word you suggested.
maintenance and purchasing, I believe.
No, there was a verb at the beginning that said something computer systems.
Develop, I
Maintains
have
the
develop.
computer systems, including so maintaining means you keep them up and running,
Right.
okay? Including purchasing and updating.
What's weird about that though, that sounds like an IT job, and is it?
it does.
I mean, because,
Yeah.
and maybe that's correct, but I don't wanna insult anybody, but don't we, isn't that what we paid the big money to the tech service for? So that you can be like, the computer is not running up and.
Yeah.
well, yeah, they would be in charge of making sure, like for now, when we have tab for a thing, is putting in tickets, confirming with them that everything's up to date. So it's
I
not
see.
as big a part of their job as like I had before, because now we have this, so they're able to do more because you have tab in place for that.
Yeah,
So it isn't as big as of a job as it
So how
looks
about-
like.
How about calls tab when there's a computer?
liaison to technology support, for example.
Oh, I like that.
I think that's
liaison.
right.
I'm gonna backtrack.
Hope, that's something I was thinking too, like we do have tab now in place where we
Yeah.
didn't have any IT person before. So wouldn't that take the load off of whoever would normally do? I mean, yes, when there's a patron, there's an issue with the computer or something happened with ours that we could first try to do on our own. But for the most part, now that we have Tab as our IT person, would it not be so much involved with what we're writing for the job descriptions?
We're just saying.
Yeah, exactly. So it wouldn't be as involved. You basically I like what Kathy said, liaison to technology support, because yeah, it would just be maintaining, if the staff puts in a ticket, making sure that the assistant that ticket went all the way through, and Tab's great with that too. So yeah, you're right, Debbie. It wouldn't be as big of a job, but it would still need overseeing.
Okay, that's right, okay.
On the thing that Hope had written out, oversees technical services department and coordinates materials budgets for all and coordinates hardware and software.
But I thought software was coming up with media.
Well, it can too. We coordinate, okay. Coordinates purchasing and maintenance. How's that?
I don't know, what does anybody else think?
Is that reflective of what you do, Hope?
This is where it gets a little bit hard, like I was trying to explain between Deb and I, is that if you're doing it into a co-director assistant, like right now, for instance, I take more, in this area at least, of the directorship of going to the town each week, all the deposits going through Tish and everything like that, where the assistant, and we both kind of play that role, is where you are purchasing the things. So like the assistant can have access to purchase everything, but then the director will be the one who needs to go like to the town each month and hands in the bills. So the assistant can purchase the director carry those bills with the line number, goes to the town.
Here is filling a purchase order. Okay, so, and then
Yeah.
the director, the finances. Right.
Yeah,
money goes to
exactly.
the town. So, being in charge of purchasing that here,
Or it can also cover town,
you know.
Yeah.
So the business department or whatever we call it, coordinates purchasing and maintenance. So that, you know, she'd know what kind of router they want, you know, what the
Yeah.
director might want, you know, just choosing,
so maintenance of computer systems, of library computer systems.
that's very,
That's it.
oversee purchasing it.
Not the assistant, you're saying, right, because the oversight is the top.
No, that's tech stuff, that should
Oh,
come from the
okay.
system.
So that should be the, all right, so then the
To
fiscal matter.
oversee that piece of it.
Yeah.
For the director. Okay. Okay, so. Sorry about that. but I'm getting
Okay,
tired.
Well, going from Emma's, we skip over operations and maintenance of the facility. That should be the director, right? Because that's an overarching.
The library, I put that under the assistant.
Which one?
Manages operations and maintenance. I didn't think the director wanted to have to deal with the custodian or who's gonna spread the.
That's why I have assistant.
Okay. Outside group usage.
I have that director.
It manages facility usage by outside groups.
Yeah, I had no idea where to put that.
Yeah, that one's hard too because Deb, I don't know if you agree, but we kind of all do that in a way. But like the staff, if they like someone wants to rent a room, or whatever, they always check with us. We check with the so that's kind of something that is.
You have to have one person that maintains the calendar.
So
You
I
know, that's where people get screwed up and stuff, if you don't have somebody that maintains that.
yeah too, and we had that I think too under the programmer.
Manages. Let's put
That's-
that
I
on.
thought it was
Even-
program.
Yeah, so that was my thought, was programmer.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
So is it agreed that that goes under programmer?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It should be just one.
Especially
Same
then, the
programmer.
programmer oversees long-range plan, technology plan, and other
That's
required
director.
plans. I put that,
Overseeing a long-range plan
That's
has to
gotta
be
be
the
director.
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 yeah, I think that's, I didn't have it that way, but I think you're right.
Can I ask a question here too? So when you say long range, are you talking about things like CIP, say ARPA, if it were to come up, those sorts of things? Grants, for example?
Talking about that, but we're also talking about your plan that we need to develop.
A strategic plan.
A strategic
Yeah, we
plan.
have to do that, so library board of directors meetings.
Both. I would say both.
I just put down the director.
Well, technically the director, but if they can't make it,
Yeah.
they could assign to the assistant.
The proxy.
Yeah.
Understands the service goals of the library and fosters those aims through opening communications with every community. I at town liaison under director.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
assist in the annual library budget preparation, attends meeting to support,
Director.
director, and I'm hoping that the assistant director will also be involved, but I don't know if we want to put that down. Engages in outreach to promote the use of the library with all members of the community.
Program.
Yeah,
I had it as both.
Yeah,
well, that should be everybody, everyone
Yeah,
at the
well-
library and everyone on the board.
You know, so let's not put it in under anyone, let's put that in the board policies. You wanna do that?
Because we shouldn't just say the director or the assistant director is gonna do outreach, everyone should be on it.
So we'll put it in the policies, instead of putting it under the person. Attends relevant. We're going to relevant workshops with knowledge, experience, training, etc. That
That
should
should
be.
go under everybody.
That sounds like-
Programmer has theirs.
The
Yeah.
policy too, yeah,
So you wanna take that out, and put it in policies?
yeah.
But the workshops,
Yeah,
Mhm.
put that in policy, okay. Other related. Okay.
okay, so we still do not have definitive answer from providers.
I say the director is responsible for it.
I say the director is overall responsible for signing off on
And we'll
anything,
just
yes.
let him assign the assistant the job of putting out the feelers or collecting the stuff. That's, the director can assign things that aren't necessarily spelled out too. That's the related duties as required part that they always put on your
Yeah.
job description that makes you sweat, you know?
So, do we want to go on this and talk about?
Why don't we,
We want to stop, yeah,
On that again.
So again, we were just.
Yep, we're back.
Okay. So Hope called me the other day when she was ready to do payroll and wanted to know what should be done to pay Deb. And we have over $4,000 in the sick leave escrow account, and that's what it is designed for. Did you end up just paying payroll?
yeah, with a note about it. Because we do essentially have till the end of the fiscal year to do the money matters. And since we're still in it, I didn't want to do anything final yet.
Okay. But just to there's money paying for Deb's sick leave. We're not stretching anything by saying, please Deb, take care of yourself.
No, no.
You know, so there is money in the sick leave escrow.
Can I ask a question? You guys have said that you're taking money out of the sick leave, but being on salary, the money is already in the budget, so why would you need to take from someplace else?
To pay for the fact that there are other people working some overtime to cover for you, that is not in the regular payroll. So if we pay you out of the sick leave escrow, which is technically where you are is in sick leave, then the money that would normally be your pay can cover some of the overtime, or not overtime, but extra hours that some of the other people are.
Okay,
So I proceed cautiously as far as wanting to understand what policy and is around these situations because what are we supposed to do? What can we do? What do we have as far as on the books for these situations?
Nothing, that's the problem, absolutely nothing. It's gotta be put into I brought that up at the last, the one before, one was right after Deb fell. There is nothing in the policy manual to cover any of this. We do have a sick leave account, and technically, directors qualify for sick leave. But we have zero policy for any of this.
And I'm cool with that and everything, but, so you say we have the sick leave for directors, is that written somewhere where if a director got injured or hurt or sick, that is it written down? And I'm fine with that, I just wanna make sure we can point and say, hey, we were authorized to pay so-and-so that money.
It was discussed and put someplace.
Yeah, on pen on paper or just
No, I'm-
verbally?
I'm trying to think. When we were talking about, when we first went to co-directors and we're talking about having to hire a new director, somewhere it talks about providing health insurance,
Yes, and it was gone
Vacation,
back almost 2 years. I have to go
sick
back and
leave, all of that. It is written
Yeah.
someplace. I
Yeah.
just am not sure exactly where.
We do have in our records a sick leave policy. Again, I don't have it in front of me, but there is something that is written up about that. And we've never used it, not since actually our first director. And we've decided to not put money into that over the last maybe 4 years, just because we were trying to save money. So it never had the opportunity to build up.
Well, the thing is, that there's $10,000 in one of the CDs belongs in the sick leave escrow.
True.
We did take $10,000 out of there in one CD. So it's zero sick leave money. There's 4,000 and something now, and there's another 10,000 when the CD matures. So it's not like we don't have money.
Yeah, I'm worried for legally we are, and from a policy standpoint, how do we handle this going forward? I know you say it's written somewhere, where do I go to find that? And I'm not trying to challenge her, it's literally like, cause I think we should help that out. I just wanna make sure we're covering our costs, right?
Yeah, I think we have to go through the paperwork upstairs, find exactly where it is, but I know it's someplace. I know there is something somewhere when we were talking about having to hire another director after Clay, when we talked about what directors were eligible for. And so I know it's somewhere.
Well,
I'm not challenging, I'm just trying to make sure we're covering our butts.
Speaking of ourselves, are we gonna look for that slide that said, the wording before we adjourn, or are we coming back to that at another
We'll come
meeting?
back, we tabled the minutes.
So we're gonna, okay, we'll just look at our time, bring evidence next time. And are we meeting later this month, and if so, as I said, that is another,
All I know is the very last thing that's on my notes from the, webinar is all capital letters with 3 exclamation points, act only as a group. So I know I got that on the line somewhere.
I think we're opening up a can of worms in a way.
Cause I would be looking for the word shall. That's the word I'm looking for, shall.
Okay. I see that.
but I'm asking, are we meeting, is there a scheduled meeting on the 24th, and if so, I once again have a conflict,
Okay,
or are we just going all the way into May?
can this go till the first meeting in May? Do we need to meet at the end of April to talk all about this?
And May would be the 15th, correct?
Now, if we have an issue with Board of Finance, we could call a special meeting for that
That's
one.
True.
For that one thing. That's the only thing I can think of that's coming up that may need discussion.
More urgent.
I agree, that could be a,
Yeah,
Okay, okay. And that could be on another night of the week or something.
yeah, so,
Okay, okay.
so anyways, that was.
So maybe no
Yeah.
meeting on the 24th would be great for
nice.
me to not have to miss another one.
Okay, so, if we put it on another night too, Kathy won't have a conflict with
Yep.
the band.
Yep, well, not only that, but yeah, I'm going away Thursday the 25th for that weekend.
Okay, anything else?
So we in comments from us or so?
Board
Yeah.
concerns?
There's no one
So,
else present, right?
landscaper, are we putting any ads out? What are we doing as far as identifying one? Are we looking locally? I know there are some locally that operate out of Wellington.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about you, Deb, but yeah, we would like to be local,
Okay.
definitely.
Can we put the word is it legal, just put it out onto, because this isn't a big contract. Can we just put it out onto the Wellington line and your line there, Jeff? And just say that the library board is considering hiring, you know.
I see Deb's unmuted.
Yeah.
When we last time we met or whatever before that, we talked about, the garden club, we talked about hope that, possible, UConn internships. There were ways that we were thinking even of, saving money to see if there would be people that would, be interested in volunteering their time for whatever different, reasons. I think we still want to go that way, right, Hope? To try that.
Yeah. Because she did,
Be a benefit
you-
of an intern or whatever too, like it might be, you know, some schools would ever have to do like community service or different things for their subjects or programs that we were gonna ask, much like we asked about interns, you know, for, who we've had in the past.
So have we reached out to them?
This is,
No, I haven't, sorry, that fell on me and no, I haven't.
Okay.
you're looking for somebody to do what?
Like mowing and
Just to maintain what we already have, actually. We're in really good shape with all of the gardens. It would just,
weeding, yeah, planting
Landscaping.
the perennial, yeah.
But
We-
more, because we do have the town.
we do have a
mowing.
plow service.
Yeah, we
right?
have
So
the
this is
mowing.
just-
My suggestion is,
we talked about the annuals, Hope, that
you pick up the
add.
loosen the soil up, throw some wildflower seeds on it,
Just let it go.
and put up our sign that we're, you know, feeding the
Bee
bees.
friendly.
Feeding the bees, yes, really, because it would be the prettiest thing. Last year, we had flowers, but they were like, you know.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea until a patron with an allergy to bees has to walk past that.
Yeah. Any
store.
They're walking by it
spots.
anyway. They're walking by it anyway.
You're gonna have the same problems with any flower.
No matter what, you're gonna.
Flowering trees, you know.
I understand that, but do you want to put up a sign that says we're supporting the bees?
Well, we can say we're for the butterflies, we'll put up the
Okay.
butterflies.
It
That's
also
fine.
conserves water
Better,
if you,
yes.
if you don't
So,
water
I
these
mean,
things,
really,
so-
that's what I would do, because I look at other people that have done it in their garden,
Yeah,
and I'm like, man, I'm doing that.
yeah, there's a lot to
You
recommend.
know,
You could truly leave it as is. You don't even have to do, we just had annuals that were added.
Deb, you need to restart because too many other people were talking. What?
I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time hearing. Again, something's coming kind of garbly. No, I was saying we could just leave it as is and not do anything. We had added annuals just to have colors carry through from spring to fall, but that's not necessary. We really don't even have to fill in with anything if, you know, we can't or don't want to. And I think, Joan, didn't you say too that there was somebody in the garden club that gets free flowers? So we just planted. Bless you.
Someone in the garden club who can get free flowers?
Yeah, there was something, I think it was Joan mentioned, they have an overflow of stuff where there's, I forget where they were at. I know we talked about getting flowers at a discount from Tri-County.
Getting the flowers is not the issue, the maintenance is the issue. You know, and you get these flowers and then you have to have planting sessions and you've gotta have, you know, watering and stuff. That's why I said just rake it over, throw the seeds in and water it every so often. just simply because that's it. Now, those flowers were given to, the garden club, and we got enough for the town hall. But we don't really get enough to spread over the whole town. You know, and, getting people to go pick them up too, that's part of it. But it's not a free-for-all with them. And some of the things that they gave us they're not like really colorful flowers, you know, they're
Yeah.
little blossoms that are very pretty, but you have to plant a dozen plants in order to get enough color to really see. That was
Why,
one
if
of
you
the
drive by
things.
my house, there's one bunch of daffodils in the middle of nothing.
I love
Well,
that.
they're noticeable that way.
They're very noticeable.
They
I
come up
discovered one the other
everywhere.
day, and it's like,
Another thought too was, as far as
And it's all-
weed painting, all that would be needed would be pretty much weeding. And we have volunteers that could do that. Even Hope and I have walked by it and picked out weeds randomly.
When you throw in the wildflower seeds, you don't weed.
So what's our action that we're gonna take for this landscaper? Leaving this meeting, what do?
You still need someone to mow, right?
No, we have the
Town's
town
doing
does.
it.
So you don't need anything.
So what's the approach?
Oh,
So I would go with Joan and do the wild,
Do that.
cause so much was done last year, like Deb's right, there isn't that much maintenance now. I mean, in the future, yes, but like in this current fiscal budget, no. We could easily maintain it ourselves.
So going
Okay.
forward, we're not gonna have a landscaper. And I'm fine, I'm just
or
wanna make
temporarily
sure
at
we're,
least.
Why don't we, this week, next week, check with UConn, see if there's any bites. If there's
Okay.
no bites, then we go with Joe's plan.
let's see. Yes, thank you for the patron count, I like the breakdown that
Perfect.
you guys did, that was awesome. I'm thankful for a report that we received from a resident on the teen center research. Thank you to them for doing the work. It was a lot of pages and a lot of work went in. My interpretation from looking over it is that there seems to be that there is only 16 teens that had responded to the survey out of it looked like a ton of towns, let's say 2, 4, so maybe 15 or so community libraries. And there was only 16 teens that had responded. Now, of those 16, it does seem to be favorable that 87 has shown moderate to strong interest with the young adult section. My concern is that there's just not enough feedback with only 16 people. But I do appreciate the work that went into that and giving it to us. And thank you to those that have been donating to the library. I talked about $1,000 donation. And my condolences to the Becker family. So, that's all I have.
I have a board concern. Please have Bill look at the toilet in the first restroom.
Ah.
It rocked when I sat on it.
Maybe it was an earthquake that loosened it.
Maybe, that might be it. Everybody was like, there's an earthquake, there's an earthquake. It's like, it's a 4 point something. Yeah, I lived in LA too long.
All right.
But that's all I have.
We don't have to make a motion. Is there anybody else that has anything? Okay, then our business is done. We can adjourn.
See you in May then. and
Who's getting this,
special meeting.